Pay attention to this apartment doorway. August 19th, 2022, 8:14 a.m., Westbrook, Connecticut. A neighbor calls for a welfare check. Police body camera footage captures the first 42 seconds. The door is unlocked. Inside, the apartment is quiet. Too quiet. A woman, 36 years old, lies on the bedroom floor beside the bed. Her name is Sarah Collins, hospice nurse, 10 years of experience. She's wearing a gray t-shirt and sleep pants. No visible injuries, no signs of forced entry. A prescription bottle sits on the nightstand, cap on, label facing outward. The officer kneels, checks her wrist. No pulse. Paramedics arrive 2 minutes later. They don't start CPR. They already know. At 8:23 a.m., Sarah Collins is pronounced dead at the scene. Initial cause? Overdose. Accidental. Case closed in under 24 hours. What no one in that apartment knows, what no one has checked yet, is that 3 days earlier, a dying man rewrote his will and included a clause designed for exactly this moment. January 13th, 2022. Daniel Mercer was told he had 6 to 9 months to live. 58 years old, former software executive, divorced, no children, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The prognosis was clear: aggressive, unforgiving. Daniel owned 3 properties, held multiple investment accounts, and had an estate valued just over $4 million. But by the time the diagnosis came, he had already lost something far more valuable: his family. Daniel had 2 siblings, an older brother, Mark, a younger sister, Elaine. In the first 2 weeks after the diagnosis, they visited, once each. They asked about the will. They asked about the house. They asked whether Daniel had named an executor. They did not ask how much pain he was in. By March, the visits stopped. Phone records later showed Elaine stopped calling entirely. Mark sent 1 text every 6 weeks. Daniel entered home hospice care in April. That's when Sarah Collins arrived. Sarah Collins was 36 years old, registered hospice nurse, 10 years of experience, no disciplinary history, quiet reputation. She wasn't assigned to Daniel because he was wealthy. She was assigned because she was available. From the beginning, she treated him like a person, not a patient. She talked to him while adjusting medication. She sat with him when the pain spiked. She stayed past her shift when he was afraid to sleep. Daniel noticed. May 25th, 2022. She was the only person who visited him consistently. Not because she had to, because she chose to. Over weeks, Daniel began to open up. He talked about the company he built, the divorce that hollowed him out, the bitterness he felt toward his siblings, not for what they'd done, but for what they hadn't. Sarah never offered advice. She listened. She learned his routines, his favorite music, how he liked the blinds angled in the afternoon. And something changed. Daniel started eating more, talking more, living more, even while dying. In June, he told her something he hadn't told anyone else. "I'm not afraid of dying," he said. "I'm afraid of dying alone." Sarah didn't respond. She stayed. In July of 2022, Daniel requested a private meeting with his estate attorney. No family present, no witnesses. He amended his will. His siblings would each receive $250,000. The remainder, the house, the investments, the residual accounts, would go to Sarah Collins. But Daniel added something else. 1 sentence. A clause his attorney later described as unusual but airtight. If any individual stands to benefit from contesting this will and is found criminally responsible for harm against Sarah Collins, their inheritance is immediately void and redistributed to charity. Daniel signed. The will was notarized, and no one was told. 3 weeks later, Mark Mercer visited unannounced. He saw Sarah in the kitchen, cooking, laughing, comfortable, not as a nurse, as someone who belonged there. Mark didn't say anything, but that night he called Elaine, and within days the questions started. Why was the nurse always there? Why hadn't Daniel been moved to a facility? Why did she seem so close? They demanded a competency review. Doctors evaluated Daniel. He passed. They contacted the hospice agency. No violations, no concerns. Every avenue closed. Until Elaine's husband, a paralegal, accessed probate filings and saw the amendment. The call came that night. $4 million gone. Redirected to a nurse they believed was manipulating a dying man. Mark was furious. Elaine was terrified. They discussed lawsuits, appeals, delays, but there was one problem. Daniel was dying fast. And then someone asked the question no one wanted to say out loud. What happens if she's not alive to inherit? Silence. No one said murder. They didn't have to. On August 19, 2022, Sarah Collins was found dead in her apartment. The cause appeared straightforward. Overdose. Prescription opioids. No sign of forced entry. The medical examiner ruled it accidental. A tragic coincidence. Daniel was informed the next morning. He didn't cry. He didn't speak. He asked for his attorney. Within hours, Daniel amended the will again, not to change beneficiaries, to reaffirm the clause. If Sarah Collins died under suspicious circumstances, any family member later linked to criminal wrongdoing would forfeit everything. Daniel died 6 days later. Hospice records show his last coherent sentence. They thought they were smarter than paper. For Mark and Elaine, the nightmare should have ended there. Sarah was dead. The inheritance reverted. But something didn't sit right. Toxicology reports showed something unusual. The dosage in Sarah's system was inconsistent with her prescription history. Too precise. Too clean. Detectives reopened the case. They pulled phone records, bank transfers, a payment, $15,000, to a man with no connection to Sarah. A man who'd once worked security consulting. A man tied to Elaine's husband. Under questioning, the man broke. He said Elaine contacted him first, said Mark approved, said they only wanted to scare her. But fear doesn't come in measured milligrams. Digital evidence filled in the gaps, messages deleted but recovered, search histories, payment trails. The overdose wasn't an accident. It was planned. In October 2023, both siblings were charged. Conspiracy, manslaughter, fraud. They pled not guilty. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The jury deliberated 4 hours. Guilty. Both received lengthy sentences, but the real punishment came next. Because they were convicted of crimes connected to Sarah Collins, the clause activated. Every dollar of the Mercer estate was voided. The house sold, the accounts liquidated. $4 million donated to hospice charities, in Sarah's name. The siblings received nothing, not even closure. Most people hear this story and think it's about greed. It isn't. It's about entitlement. About the belief that blood guarantees ownership, that care can be transactional, that compassion is something to be eliminated if it interferes with money. Sarah Collins didn't manipulate anyone. She showed up. Daniel Mercer didn't lose his mind. He recognized dignity when he felt it. And when his family tried to erase the woman who gave him that dignity, he had already protected her. Sometimes justice doesn't arrive in time to save a life, but sometimes it arrives exactly where it hurts most: on paper.